Welcome to Hellbent Live. Let us know you can see us and hear us in the chat. Joe's going to be looking at that. I've got it on solo. Let's put it on us, both of us.
Ba-bam.
How we looking, how we sounding. Let us know in the chat. 5x5 Scorpius, thank you very much. I think we're coming through. I think this is working.
Here we go.
Let's fingers crossed that this is going to work. This is kind of the first phase of this new setup that we've got here, and hopefully it works. Hopefully it goes off without a hitch. We are so glad to have you here on this Tuesday night. Welcome to Hellbent Live. My name is Jessie Doyle. This is Joe Doyle, and we are so glad to see you guys here. The film that we just put out last Sunday, not this past Sunday, but last Sunday, hit 104,000 views.
No, you're almost 120.
Please, let's not correct me before I finish my sentence.
104,000
views in the first week alone. But now, Joseph, how many are we up to?
Now we're at 120,000,
Very
Jesse.
good.
Now we're at 120,000. Well, it's like 118 something. It'll be up at 120 shortly.
Well, there you go. So we could not be happier with the performance of Hunt for the Appalachian Bigfoot Valley of the Giants. We're really proud of this project, and you guys seem like you guys absolutely enjoyed it. It was a departure from what we usually do, and I think it was a welcome departure from what we usually do. In the prior few films that we did, we were pretty straightforward on Bigfoot, except for our LBL film. And we'll kind of get into some of that in a little bit because Dogman is the topic today. But this film was a little different from the rest of the films we had done. We were really straightforward with what we did in our prior films in the UARI, in the Sumter National Forest, and the LBL. And in this film, in Blood Mountain, Georgia, everything took a turn for the supernatural. So I hope you guys have had a chance to check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you know anybody that would enjoy it, make sure you share that film out to them. This lets everybody know that there is an interest in independent filmmakers and independent researchers into Bigfoot, Dogman, the paranormal. So support that if you want to see more of that. That's all we ask that you do.
I know I asked more than that. Don't just show it to them. I want you guys to literally drag people off the street. Get a van, steal a van.
Steal a van.
Grab people at bus stops, people checking their mail, anything like that. Hog time. You got to grab their cell phones though, because it's got to be an individual view. You can't just have all of your abductees watch from one computer.
That's true.
That won't work. So you need to steal their phones with them and then make them watch. Hunt for the Appalachian Bigfoot.
Hunt for the Appalachian Bigfoot. Yeah, make sure you share that out. Make sure you tell people about it, because that's what we want to do. Is we want to show that there is interest in independent researchers, independent filmmakers, and independent media companies like Small Town Monsters. If you support it, if you share it, you get more of it, and that's just brass tacks. We are people that do the work. We are people that live this. This is what we are into. This is what we live for. We are not a producer who made a dating show last month and now we're cashing in on the old Bigfoot thing.
That's exactly what an industry plant would say, to be honest with you. So that's exactly what an industry plant
you could say.
You'd
be like, the lady doth protest too much.
So we are running on all new equipment tonight.
Yeah.
We had a lot of trouble the last couple of weeks streaming. We picked up some gremlins. We also have aging equipment. The camera that we usually stream off of is the camera that we use to film a lot of our stuff on. The sound system was running through the recorder that I use for our parabolic. So, but it all tested fine. Everything would always test fine whenever we tested it. It's just whenever we tried to stream, issues galore. So we went through and we took what we acquired through Super Chats the last few weeks. We threw in half of it. And
huge thanks to Patty. Huge thanks to Rick Skinner and everybody who kind of threw in on this. We were able to order this stuff right after we got done with the mess that we had last week. So we were able to get this stuff and get it into action. I'm still learning the board here, but after I figure that out, I'll be able to produce some really fancy, cool shows. I'm really excited about that. And I think as a result of us getting us all this cool stuff, we're going to have to add in some more shows. So I think we're going to have the return of Dark Dive, everybody. I know everybody really loves Dark Dive. We only did, I think, 7 episodes of Dark Dive, but that's how a lot of people found us initially. It had a great response, and I think it's high time that we bring back Dark Dive, but we're going to be a lot better than we were then, because that was like 4 years ago. I don't know if you remember, 4 whole years ago. It feels like a millennia ago, but we are way better at what we do now. We are wiser. We are funnier.
So
we're better looking.
My point was going to be is that if you hear an occasional like boom, like a thud tonight, we're still getting the microphone sensitivity. It was a pain to get this stuff, man. I ordered all of this stuff, and then we tried to have it sent to an access point. So we'll just be there waiting for us to pick up. They accepted that, and then I got a message saying that they couldn't deliver there, that it had to come here. So I pushed the delivery back a day for when Jesse was going to be here. We were getting 3 separate packages in with a bunch of different stuff. All of that took, and then middle of the night, we got an email saying your change cannot be accepted. The original, you will be back at your original delivery date, which is now the 21st of like August. So we were able to track down and get the main thing, but we've still got like 2 packages out there floating around UPS that we're eventually going to probably have to do a claim on. But we got the main stuff. We got the new microphones. We got the new board. We actually ran a different camera that we actually use for interviews. It's not the one that we use with this board. We're able to use that camera now and actually stream off of it. But whole point being, you're going to hear an occasional tonight. It's okay. We got to get everything dialed in still.
At least it's working, sort of.
So our buddy Dave, donation to the Hellbent Hollers Shush Fund. We also got to learn our new distances with mics. This is literally, we got them in, hooked everything up, ran a test, and we're doing this. We're doing it live. Thank you for that, my man.
I can't sit over here and like shrimp up behind this thing.
So we appreciate you. You know who else we also appreciate? Curtis Whitaker.
Curtis, don't hurt us.
Curtis, don't hurt us. Curtis, was that you I found on Facebook? Curtis, he
pops up where you least expect him.
He's above everything. I'm like, Curtis, is that you I found on Facebook? Please just tell me yes.
Oh.
So we appreciate you as always, Curtis. Thank you so much.
All right. So far in the chat, the response is audio sounds good. Picture looks crispy. That's what we are looking for.
So we never, the live show was a byproduct of the field investigations. We never set out to do like streaming like this. And matter of fact, I was really resistant to it when we first did it. Now it's like a place for us to hang out with like everybody and actually, so 1.5-way conversation. You guys are communicating through chat. We're talking, but it's a big, important part of our night, or of our week rather. So we went ahead and like I said, shifted our priorities to getting this stuff set. We got it set now. Hopefully it's going to work out. Hopefully it's going to come through okay. But, we appreciate you guys. Couldn't do it without y'all.
Absolutely. I'm gently going to move this around to do the chat. Following up, Miss Minerva. Miss Minerva, thank you for that super chat. Just because. Thank you, Miss Minerva. Yeah, I think this looks good.
I think it looks
this might work.
It might work. So
we saged the room as well a couple of times before we did this. We did it a couple of times this week. So try to get some of that out of here. Everybody's really excited about the return of Dark Dive. I know, like I was saying, I'm sorry I stepped on what you were saying about the bumping of the mics and all, but I'm excited for Dark Dive to come back because that was 4 years ago that we did Dark Dive. We only did like 7 episodes, but that had such an impact on so many people that are now like mainstays within the Hellbent Holler community. That's how we found a lot of our Hellbenders, is they heard some of those Dark Dive episodes and that brought them in to the cult. But there were only maybe 7 episodes of that. And now 4 years later, we have so much more experience under our belts. We're wiser. Like I said, better looking. I think we're definitely better looking. But we have better tech. And so it's going to be Dark Dive, but it's going to be better than ever before. And I think we can even go back to some of those topics that we discussed in those initial episodes of Dark Dive and maybe revisit them with a fresh eye and better perspective and more experience. I
couldn't remember what all we did. We did for Dark Dive, we did the Beasts of LBL.
Yeah.
As Above, So Below, where we
Yeah.
talked about the connection with like the UAP phenomenon and weird stuff on the ground. We did The Bane of the Race of Men, which is from Beowulf. And
I love
talking
the
about
titles.
cryptid predation.
Yeah.
Cryptid predation and, the dangers that people might face out in the woods. We did an infrasound one.
Diabolical Hypothesis was one of the biggest episodes that we had ever done. I had people coming into my regular job who have never watched anything I've ever done. And they said that they watched Diabolical Hypothesis and listened to it 5 times.
I like The Bane of the Race of Men. And then The Hidden War we did, talking about, was the government aware of like the cryptid activity that takes place, and were there active efforts to contain that presence, that cryptid presence, to curtail it, contain it, or possibly eliminate it? So we had some pretty cool damn topics there back in the day for 2 people that didn't know what they were doing.
We have pretty good titles too. I think
Yeah.
we did good on that. Rick Skinner. Skinner of the Rick.
Shush Recovery Fund. All right.
Now, when Rick goes in there, we got to give him the Rick gong. Awesome. How long is that gong? It's so long. It's a long gong. There we go.
My mic a little bit. So still getting dialed in, folks. So thank you there, Mr. Rick. And then it's like we're live streaming on eggshells right now.
We are. We're so scared.
We're like, check it out. I even took my contacts out so I didn't have to use my readers, because usually I'm whipping my readers around like a madman.
You guys
and
are
I'm
gonna
going,
miss the
gotta
reader
learn
whip.
what a new microphone
We
is
are scared
now,
to touch
so.
anything right now, because this is a very temporary table. So if we touch it, we're going to have some bumps. We're just nervous as all get out during this. Just high tension, high stress. But it's working.
The shush fund.
I'll
I'll tell you, it's so weird, because this topic, like this, that, people that are interested in like the paranormal and cryptids and everything like that, you get some normal-ish people. Obviously they've got some weird tastes, but they're still normal-ish. You get some really effing cool people, you know what I'm saying, who kind of get it, and you can like make jokes and be, kind of have some like, humor directed at yourself and just have fun with it, because it's a fun topic.
I take myself very seriously.
But then you get these people that just are so wired tight. And remember the night that we did the knife check and you had the giant like Bowie and I had like a very teeny knife, and I was going, I thought we were bringing small knives, and made like a big deal out of it as a joke.
That was such a...
People were talking on Reddit that Joe's just so insecure. Did you see how much it bothered him that she had a bigger knife than him? And I'm going, my Lord. So that ties into the
I
shush
don't believe
thing.
he's 6'3" at all.
That ties into the shush thing. The only real negative feedback we've gotten on the new documentary is because
not enough shushes.
You shush people sometimes, so
I don't think there were enough shushes.
That woman talks way too much. And I'm going, she's in charge of the whole thing. This is her documentary. She's going to talk.
I will say, when we did the Tennessee cryptid camp out, only one person left in a huff because of my shush. Everybody else was down for it. So the people have spoken.
You know what the people have got to say, Deborah Farrell.
Deborah. Jeez, Deborah.
That is insanely generous of you. Thank you so much. Feral Tech Equipment Fund. Feral Tech.
Feral Tech. Whoa.
Feral Tech's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
So, well, I have the Feral Cam.
So,
and I'm going to have the
Deborah, not only will we accept that super chat, we are also going to steal Feral Tech.
Feral Tech, yeah.
Feral Tech. So, all right.
Here at Feral Tech Industries.
Here at Feral Tech Industries. So we are going, thank you so much for that, Deborah. Leave that up for a few minutes. Everybody give Deborah a round of applause.
I just came up with a really cool name for a tech company.
What?
Hera Tech.
You should not have said that on live. No, that will be
that's really
stolen
good.
And used. Anyway, damn.
Copyright. Jesse Doyle.
Everything in this episode is fully copyrighted.
2026.
By us. Anyway.
I do not give Facebook permission.
So, Deborah, thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mr. Booby. Be right back. So we're not going to be highlighting as many chats tonight because I'm still trying to learn.
We're so
touching
scared.
What makes what noise, and I don't want you guys to. It's really bothered us the past couple of weeks. The streaming has been so rough. So
there may have been tears.
Yes. So you guys tell us real quick in the chat. Tell us how the sound quality is, how the image quality is. These are new mics, a new processor, mixer, whatever the hell you call it, and then a new like a different camera. So tell us how this looks compared to what it normally looks like. Let us know. We're also going to see if we can dip StreamYard. We're looking into that.
Don't say it
We're
loud,
trying to
they'll get
eliminate
you.
anything out of here that the gremlins can kind of sneak in.
Also,
So-
I was on the phone for a long time with a guy, like an IT guy, that was actually very helpful with this whole thing. And he's like, what do you use to stream with? And I was like, well, we use StreamYard. He goes, oh God. He goes, it's a bottleneck. It's a bottleneck.
So we're going to try to eliminate that bottleneck.
So I think that once I learn this board here, I'm going to be able to cast directly from this system to YouTube. So we won't have to worry about the bottleneck. He was so offended.
Yeah,
that we
he
use
was.
StreamYard. I was like, well, I have overlays. With this, I can do custom overlays and everything like that. It's just a thing for Jesse to learn now. But we're going to try to eliminate that. You know, this is interesting. LW Marshall says, I checked out Dark Dive after seeing y'all at Monster Fest. So it was us going to Monster Fest and Dark Dive that led us to one of our best buds.
Our best buds out there. So,
Aletta. Did you say Aletta's?
what's that now?
Did you get Aletta's? Oh, you did. Did you?
What? Yeah, I did, but you can redo it. So go ahead and slap it back up again. So anyway,
Aletta.
while Jesse does that,
Is it working?
Jesse looks great. Joe looks short and fuzzy. How
does that work?
I don't know. Anyway, our buddy Hawk, you'd have to read that for me. So
I'd be all right with the shushed because I don't say much in the woods. Years of hunting has taught me to be quiet. I would have got a gun stock wrapped upside my head if I had made sound by my head. I don't know what this says. Just kidding. He liked quiet. Okay, we're talking about the guy who left the thing. Sorry, the print is so small.
I know the print is like very tiny. Somebody had mentioned that the chat print looks. That's the other thing too, man. StreamYard's always doing like weird updates and things change, and we don't get like an announcement for it. And
then it's like we're old people who have our monitors really far from us. So I'm gonna try when there is a book I must read here. I will go slow and try to get close to it and stay on my mic. We're struggling through. You know what? Minerva wants us to do the whoop, the Joe whoop.
Whoop. Whoop. Whoop. Came through. I hope it didn't come through. Matter of fact, now that we've got this done, now I'm going to sneak into StreamYard one night and delete that. But so anyway, topic tonight is Dogman.
Yeah, let's get on Dogman.
Because, you know, Dogman so we're doing these documentaries. And these are for public consumption. And we wanted to really showcase what Jesse was capable of doing as a filmmaker, as a documentary filmmaker, because that's what you are now. You're a documentary filmmaker.
Thank you.
You're not just some like goofy chick doing YouTube videos,
I mean,
although there's still elements of that, but you're like an actual legit documentary filmmaker now. So, I mean, we're on Amazon. How crazy is that? You can like get on Amazon and see us. That's bananas.
That is
bananas. We still never get recognized at the Expedition Bigfoot Museum. However.
That's the one place. So we'll go to Palmetto State Armory and we have people who know who we are and they're like, oh my God, you know, and they'll say stuff to us. We're like, oh, hello, hello. That's how we talk to when we're out and about. We're like, get away from the limousine. Hello, hello. But like we go to we did get recognized at the Expedition Bigfoot Museum.
We did actually.
The Bigfoot lady.
Yes, indeed.
Herself.
So Amanda, the Bigfoot lady, recognized us. Our buddy Walter. The Hellbent Holler Stress Release Fund for restoring Joe's faith in humanity for a short time. It's gonna be a pretty short time, buddy.
If I had wood, I'd knock on it.
But we've been doing Bigfoot stuff for these documentaries because that's the most digestible thing for like the masses out there that are interested in this stuff. Because we've got a reputation for being pretty freaking weird as far as this stuff goes. We're kind of polarizing to certain elements and like the Bigfoot, even the Bigfoot community, definitely the Dogman community, but because we kind of do our own thing, we're not afraid to if you're a public figure in this stuff, you've got to have a fully formed like story for everyone. You've got it all figured out. This is what's going on. We're not like that. We don't know what the hell's going on out there. That's the whole purpose of us running around with cameras. We've learned some stuff. We have some theories, but I don't think anybody's got a really good grasp of what's going on out there. Definitely not us. But we focused on the Bigfoot stuff because that's the most easily digestible. But while we've been doing that, we're like straining at the bit to get out there and look into weirder stuff again. And we've really been kind of focused on the Dogman phenomenon lately. And if you remember, if you are a member, we have a Discord for the members that they get in and chat with. It's a great thing. It's a great community. You know, over the past few months, it's really kind of solidified. I'd say past month, it's gotten really good. But we were talking about Dogman. I put a poll up talking to people about what they thought the nature or origins of Dogman was. And it really stimulated some great discussion there. And, you know, Dogman's such a weird, it's a hard phenomenon to really investigate full time. I think the only person that full time does a good job of it is Jody Cook and his crew.
Yeah. And actually, you know, the NADP is probably the first organization that was really looking into the Dogman phenomenon in an organized fashion. And they kind of went a strange direction for a bit, but I got to tell you, NADP has come back with just full speed. And they've got so many cool guys that they've brought on to be regional directors. And I've met so many of these guys and they're amazing. The new guys with the NADP are awesome.
And then Jody's top. That was Way of the Sploot, by the way, not Walter. Walter also did a thing. Way of the Sploot. I apologize.
We cannot see. These letters
see.
are this
everything's
big.
Like really tiny. This is from Walter. Thank you, Walter. We appreciate you. Our buddy Dave Gardner. He's been a member, been here supporting us from the beginning. And then our other friend, Michael, we missed you guys. Too many shushes. We missed you guys at the Tennessee Wildman Con. We couldn't make it, man. We did 3 big conferences. We spoke at like Tennessee Wildman. We spoke at Cryptid Con. We spoke at Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. We shared a stage with Jeff Meldrum. Matter of fact, they wanted us to take Jeff Meldrum's spot on some of the events that promotional company had after he passed, unfortunately.
One of those cruises, yeah.
Yeah, RIP Jeff Meldrum. But I don't know, man. We're not really like cryptid celebrities or anything like that. Or at least I don't feel that way.
Hands off the merchandise.
But we, so I don't know, man. And that ties in with the Dogman stuff. It's such a confusing topic. I don't know what the hell. I still struggle with the Dogman topic, even though we've looked into it. We've talked to some extremely compelling witnesses. We've had some, I think all Dogman evidence is debatable, and that's a hot take, including what we've captured.
Maybe that's part of the phenomenon too, is that it's supposed to be this confusing. It's supposed to be this discombobulating. That's why the people that get involved with it are generally insane, ourselves included, of course. That like people who are, you don't have the same types that get involved very heavily with Bigfoot as you do that get very heavily involved with Dogman.
We need to get Jody Cook on the show.
I would love to do that.
Our buddy LW Marshall, Paranormal Palaver, just interviewed him. But
Jody was actually the first person to really speculate the LBL, the LBL massacre that allegedly occurred in 1982, which we did a whole dang film on.
Yeah.
He was the first one to speculate that it didn't happen in that location that everybody had always said it happened, that it actually happened closer to the lake itself. So my favorite thing about Jody Cook and I got into an online argument a few years ago. Yes.
And we were just going at it. We were going at it with each other. And we didn't talk for like a while, but even on this show,
you guys were threatening to sue each other.
We were just at it.
And then you guys were gonna like meet and
we were just two hotheads. We're two hotheads. But even then, we were on the show one night, and we said something, and we were talking, and you said something about Jody Cook, and I didn't say anything, and then I just grudgingly went, "Yeah, but Jody Cook is probably the best out there at this." You know what I'm saying? And then we reached out and talked to each other, and I was just like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry." And he's like, "We're both hotheads. Don't worry about it." But that's your
rubric for like a cool dude.
For like a cool guy. But I'm also the sort of dude that you can walk up to and go, sorry, I was drunk. And to me, that's a perfectly good apology. I hear you, man. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? But just, yeah, that's my thing. It's just somebody that just goes, water under the bridge. Don't worry about it. But the Dogman phenomenon is so, it's confusing to me. I still struggle with it. And what I was talking about, even the evidence that we've captured, which might be indicative of an upright canid, I don't know. I just don't know. It's hard for me to process that. The old Joe has a hard time processing, because the old Joe, it's still a big smart monkey running around the woods. Do you know what I'm saying?
But we've got the new and improved Joe now.
Well, the new and improved Joe,
and you guys can see him very clearly.
Struggles with a lot of this stuff. And I just remember when we started getting Dogman reports, and I'm just like, werewolves, really, man? I just don't think I want them.
And we've kind of talked about our dipping into Dogman before. And there's a lot of new people on here too. Do you want to talk about kind of how did we get into Dogman? Because the old Joe, like you said, was into monkey running through the woods. There was no possible way that there ever could be a Dogman. That's banana talk. That's crazy talk. We're in Banana Town 100% when it comes to an upright canid. But then something happened. A series of things happened that changed that whole thing.
So there's this thing called the Bigfoot forums. I'll give them a plug. I mean, it's still up, but it's an old message board where a lot of like Bigfoot researchers would get on there. And a lot of like the real, like big notable names in the community were on there at any given time. And there was a lot of discussion, a lot of fighting that took place on there. It's very, the woo is not very accepted there. It's very much, we're approaching this as it's an undiscovered animal. And I really need to reach back out to this person, or at least see if I can find the messages and go back over them, because we referenced them just to make sure that I haven't gotten any of the details wrong. But another Bigfoot researcher that was on there reached out to me, and he went, hey, I'm giving you this just because I don't know what to do with it. And it's in your area. And it was
Blowing Rock, North Carolina.
They had gotten a cabin up there for the holidays, he and his family. And he even said, he goes, if this was just a regular like witness, I'm paraphrasing, but if this was a regular witness, I just dismiss it. But it's my daughter. So his daughter was a collegiate runner, and she had gone out. It was either Christmas Eve or Christmas morning. I can't remember, like Christmas Eve morning or Christmas Day morning. She'd gone out for a run because she runs every day, collegiate runner. She goes out, and she's running like a path up through there near this cabin. It's in a wooded area. Something comes out of the brush and starts chasing her. She looks over her shoulder, and it's like a very large canine, wolf, something like that. So she's running. She glances back over just in time to see it go up to 2 legs and start running. And she realizes that it's built more like a man than like an actual canine. And she just poured on the speed, never looked back again, ran home, got inside, oh my God, this happened. So he reached out to me. I didn't really know what to do with it. Come on, man. That's a stretch. That just opened up the floodgates for us for some reason.
It was very shortly after that we received a report from somebody who's now a friend of yours.
Yeah. And he comes on here every once in a while. He's got a channel. He's not really doing much of the cryptid stuff because, day-to-day stuff's taking up a lot of his time, but cryptid response. And
that was very early on in what we did. And now all of this happened before our first trip to the LBL. We had never been to the LBL at this point. Joe got that report via the Bigfoot forums. And then this gentleman got in touch with us, and we got brave. We decided we'd go meet a witness for the first time. So we went up to Kings Mountain, North Carolina.
Yeah. And he'd had a Dogman encounter, and just the most credible dude ever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So matter of fact, like I said, we stayed friends with him. And we've stayed in contact with him ever since then. He's not somebody that you just can't meet him and think he's not credible. Mm-hmm. And we just started getting report after report after report in a strip, starting at Blowing Rock, North Carolina, and going down. And we were just getting report. And again, we were nobody.
And this is all just in a strip. And it's when we're going to be more specific here. It was Blowing Rock, North Carolina. It was Kings Mountain, North Carolina, and Lenore, North Carolina. Now, if you're familiar, all of these places are kind of nearby, and it was all coming down straight towards us. And it all happened in a very quick succession. Mm-hmm. And so what's more interesting about that is, prior to that, Joe and I had really been on a kick where we're kind of making fun of Dogman a lot. And then these reports come in. And then that's what spurred us on to go to LBL for the first
we
time.
met the gentleman that does cryptid response, and that was kind of the one where we started going, I don't know, man, he's really credible. It was a really hot, just crummy summer, and we were wanting to kind of just get out of our area. But here's the thing, though. Let me back up a little bit. We were not really known at all. Not that we're really known now, but I mean, we were not really known in the slightest, and we definitely weren't known for anything with Dogman. But it seems like the universe was just throwing that stuff at us. We're much more aware of that now, those weird synchronicities, than we used to be. But we started looking at like Dogman lore, and I was familiar with the basics. I was a Bigfoot guy, man. You know, I was familiar with the basics. In New Orleans, had a group of friends. We would joke about Michigan Dogman all the time, and we thought it was kind of funny. But we're looking at Dogman, and if you just look at Dogman on the surface level, it's kind of a silly thing. It just is, you know, especially to somebody who's really already kind of dismissive of it. You don't really see a lot on the surface area that really lends itself to being a credible topic. But we kind of honed in on the LBL, and we decided to basically take a road trip to the LBL. We made jokes about it the entire time.
We called it Dogman Summer.
We were going to have a Dogman Summer. That is when, what is his name?
Chet Hanks.
Chet Hanks, Tom Hanks' son.
Yes.
Was doing
White Boy Summer.
White Boy Summer, and it was like everywhere. Everybody was making fun of him and how goofy he was. He was like, it was a White Boy Summer.
Yeah.
Because he's just like this penultimate goofy white dude. But we decided we were going to have Dogman Summer. And the original plan was we were going to go to like a few like Dogman hotspots, kind of laugh it up, you know, maybe film a little bit for the channel or whatever. But Hawk had said, what's up with all these peepaws wanting to sue and fight in the cryptid community? That was me and Jody, man. But Jody's hell of a good dude. But
so we decided to make our way up to the LBL, and we got up there.
Well,
and
I mean, so we ordered like our first real expensive piece of equipment.
Oh, yeah,
I used that as an excuse because we're going to the LBL. Oh, what if something happens? So we ordered like a really good thermal imager. We had like a real cheap FLIR before that. We ordered like a really nice pulsar. Spent way more money than we were comfortable at that time spending on stuff, but we ordered that, and we were even worried that it wasn't going to get here in time because it was dragging on shipping. We even made arrangements for somebody to come get it off our porch if it showed up after we left. But it showed up, and you know, we're kind of messing with it as we're driving there to kind of familiarize ourselves with it. And then most of it, we were just out there learning as we went with it. So the whole time we're making fun of it, man. We're making fun of it. Werewolf hunting. We need silver bullets, you know. And we go out, and it was the night before Midsummer, and we were out, and we had that experience where we were actually near the spot near the bunkers where most people think the 82 massacre happened at.
Wait, the Sploot has a little thing here, and she says, old Joe got shocked with a thermal image that made him reconsider. It's almost like Dogman tested your skepticism. Carry on. I just had to throw that in there right at that moment.
Well, we were out on foot at night near the area around the bunkers, and everything kind of goes quiet right around us. You could still hear like insects and stuff like that in the distance, but it went really quiet, and it was a really loud forest. So we stopped, we get back to back. Jesse's behind me with night vision, like looking, I'm looking with a thermal, and I scan and I see something that's like really hot. And I snap back over, and we had just been taking photos of deer near a power line cut near there. And the ground was so hot there that it wasn't until the deer got silhouetted against the sky that you could see them really well, because there wasn't that much difference between the temperature of the deer and the ground that they were on. And we'd just been snapping photos. That thing had some memory. It didn't have a lot of memory, so we weren't really filming the deer. So that was one of the things I learned too on that trip, is that it's such a tightrope that you walk, that you don't want to run out of memory. You don't want to run out of battery power. You don't want to like film willy-nilly, but you also got to have it running. And if you're trying to like marshal your resources too much, you're going to miss stuff. But thankfully we got 2 pictures of whatever that thing was, and it shifted, and it appeared to have big pointed oversized ears. And I don't know what it was. I'm looking at it. It didn't scream canine to me, you know, especially on that tiny little screen right up next to my eye. I knew it was hot. It was much, much, much hotter against the background than the deer had been. So whatever it was generating a lot more heat then the vegetation that had been warmed up by the sun and by the deer, which were living creatures. And whatever it was running hot, man. And then it shifted and moved a little bit. And I'm going, hell? And I had a flashlight on a lanyard around my wrist. And I tried to flip it up and catch it. I do that all the time. And of course, this time I fumble it. So I'm fumbling a little bit. And then when I look up, nothing there. It's gone. Don't see anything naked eye, nothing on the thermal. And Jesse's like, what's up? And I'm like, I don't know what's up. I think we just need to move out of here and maybe get somewhere where we have better visibility, because I didn't know what I seen. I mean, technically, I still don't know what I saw, but we're looking at it. And, you know, a lot of the witness reports that came out for people that encountered dogmen and the LBL are these oversized pointed ears. And man, so I'm still not sure what I saw. I don't think it was natural wildlife. It doesn't match up with hogs or deer or bear or coyotes or anything like that at all. It moved. It was alive. It seemed to be. It was really hot. But that's what really I had that moment. We always keep like a hotel room or a cabin or whatever, you know.
Because we have a ton of equipment we got to charge.
We got to recharge. We got to like clean, tick checks, everything like that. So
tick check is my favorite
and
part.
we sleep during the daytime a lot of times, and then we're up all night. So I just remember sitting in that hotel room while you were asleep, looking at the picture blown up on the laptop we had with us, just looking at it going, what is this? And I still don't know what I mean, I still can't say I caught Dogman on thermal, but whatever we caught on thermal was enough to kind of like really like rock my foundations a little bit.
Right.
And I think that was the thing that really kind of chipped away at what I thought was real, if that makes sense. And
I do have a little side note here that, you know, you got that thermal on the summer solstice.
Night before the summer solstice.
Night before the summer solstice. I think every year we need to be out in the woods.
Summer solstice.
on the summer solstice, because we got the orbs, the light anomalies
on the summer solstice.
This last film on the summer solstice. Yeah. So but just a side note there that we need to be out and about on all of these liminal times. We always do an equinox special when that rolls around.
But it is I don't know, man. It didn't convince me of anything. Well, I guess it did. It convinced me that I didn't have as firm a grasp on what reality was as I thought I had before. And we became very open to at least the possibility of Dogman at this point.
Do you think that was one of those pivotal moments in your study of this and your journey through doing all of this work that we do? Do you think that was one of those pivotal moments that started to break your mind open and open your mind to the possibilities of much weirder things actually being out there?
Yeah, I think it did. It kind of, and I'm still not saying it convinced me, is because I still don't understand. I don't understand or know what's going on.
But did it start that ball rolling?
It at least, if anything, it opened me up to the possibility that I didn't have all the answers for anything. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think anybody has the answers for anything.
And I think that's been,
as far as this stuff goes,
that's definitely been a positive change, you know, because otherwise,
not for my mental health, it has not been positive because it's comforting. And I understand why people do this. I understand why people need concrete explanations in order to feel safe and secure and make sure that they've got their feet on the ground and, you know, and it's a firm foundation that they're standing on. And it's not very comfortable to just go, I don't know what's in the world around me. You know, that's why when we hear, I'm open to some weird stuff nowadays. I'm not saying I'm open to the definite existence of stuff, but I'm open to the possibility of some weird stuff. You know, that conversation we were having in our Discord, you know, talking about the nature of Dogman. And I'm not going to pull it up right now, but I had like a bunch of different options for people to kind of like vote on to see if they thought that was a possibility. Physical, and it's an evolved canine. These are canines that are learning to evolve to stand on their hind legs for whatever reason. They can't walk very far. Their skeletal structure is really not set for like, you know, but you know, they can do it. I mean, there's videos online of dogs that have lost their front two legs and it looks strange, but they can move around on their back legs.
But there's always an impotence for that. There's missing front legs. And with these reports that you're getting, they're not missing any limbs at all.
I remember when Aaron Deese, Small Town Monsters, probably the best like Dogman scholar we've got right now since Linda Godfrey passed. He's kind of the successor in my mind to Linda Godfrey, the person who really approaches this with like intellect and like solid research and thought. You know, he that was what he thought was the possibility was is that if this is happening, it's coy dogs and coyotes and feral dogs that are learning to stand up all right for whatever reason. That was a possibility. Or just the flat out, it's a undiscovered species. It's a living, breathing, bleeding, crapping in the woods, sleeping in caves or under bushes species that we just haven't discovered yet.
Yeah.
The cryptoterrestrial possibility that they're here, we just can't see them all the time. And that's why they're hidden. They're underground. They're able to like mask themselves, cloak themselves, whatever, and stay hidden.
They have a unique way of interacting with the environment to cloak themselves. And this is a theory that's been put forth for Bigfoot and Sasquatch as well.
So, or is it some sort of interdimensional type of thing, you know, that they're coming from somewhere else here, they're here for a while, and they go back to wherever they come from. And they're just normal beings there, you know? And I've always thought that would be kind of weird, wouldn't it? What if some of the things that we see as cryptids are very commonplace in other area? Maybe there's a plane of reality where Mothman is the dominant species and there's just a boatload of them.
And if one of us passed through and came into their area, we would be
the cryptid. I always
be the cryptid you want to see in the world.
Be the cryptid you want to see in the world. I'll side trek here real quick. Is that I always thought, what if that was going on with the UFO phenomenon, UAPs? These are mundane flying craft from other realities that sometimes just dip in and out, and maybe have crashed here. And maybe some of our missing airlines, like missing airplanes, have ended up in those realities. And there's like an alien version of Area 51, and they're out there going, I don't know, there's no anti-gravity drive, and it seems like they're burning this weird substance and it turns into flame. Well, that's impossible. That's just what's happening, you know?
Yeah. I just know that if ET landed at my home, me and my friends would have beat him to death with hammers.
Anyway, but that was one of the possibilities. And then you have flat out, I mean, technically it's all paranormal, but you know, the supernatural stuff. Is it demonic? Is it a spiritual entity, but it's not demonic? It's just a negative entity. Is it something else entirely, and it's presenting itself to you as if it's a Dogman? Back to that, what's our favorite line that we say almost every show from Mothman Prophecies?
What do you look like?
Depends on who's looking. So is it something like that? It's not a Dogman, but it's how it's presenting itself to you. One of the things that kind of backs that up with Dogman lore is the amount of roadside sightings where people come around a curve, go up and over a hill, headlights hit it, it's on the side of the road, eating roadkill, staring at them. It had to have heard them coming. It had to have seen the light coming, but yet it chooses to stay there and let itself be seen.
And it seems that it does that as opposed to other types of phenomena. Like Sasquatches, it'll be a roadside crossing. There's rarely this moment where it's there and it stays. It seems like this wants you to see it. And there's almost this induction of fear that it wants to.
There's a current of that create in almost every single aspect of cryptozoology and the paranormal. Why do UAPs and UFOs, why are they lit up? That seems counterintuitive to something that doesn't want to be seen, but yet they are. Why do people see Bigfoot crossing the road if it's so fast and its senses are so sharp and it's so stealthy and it's so agile? We should never see them, but yet we do. And with the Dogman thing too, especially, there's like an element of flaunting itself at you, you know, taunting you, that makes it seem like when you do catch a glimpse, it's on purpose. It wants you to do that. Now, my theory currently, and when I say theory, my hypothesis on this stuff is that what we're seeing is a modern day continuation of black dog phenomenon from mostly although that's worldwide in a lot of cultures, Western Europe is what I'm most familiar with and where it's mostly known from.
And one misconception that a lot of people have that are involved in cryptid work or cryptid study is that they think that the Dogman phenomenon is something that is very new, that it's something that just came around in the past few years. But the black dog phenomenon shows that that's not true, that this is something that is much, much older than the current iteration of Dogman that we have.
Well, I mean, if you go back to it, you're looking at 3,300 BC with Anubis legend, Anubis in Egyptian culture. The earliest like black dog phenomenon, for those of you who haven't heard of us talk about it before, it's like a spectral black dogs, hellhounds. They're physical, but they're still supernatural.
And some are considered good and some are considered evil. Some are a protection ward. In some forms of traditional witchcraft, a wished hounds are called upon to protect a working area. So if there is a coven of witches that are working in a certain area, they can invoke the wished hounds to protect the area from outsiders.
Well, you'd have churchyard grims, which they would kill a dog and bury it in a church graveyard. And that dog would then basically become kind of a supernatural protector of that graveyard. But the vast majority of black dog phenomenon were things that were entities you didn't want to run across. They would either try to just terrify travelers who were alone on a secluded path late at night. Sometimes they would try to chase or lure travelers off that path into the woods where they would come to misfortune. Sometimes they would just flat out physically attack you, which runs pretty parallel to the Dogman phenomenon, because the Dogman phenomenon is mostly sightings with no physical attack. And that's how mostly the black dog phenomenon was. Now, there's a thing called the black shuck, which actually attacked people in a church, killed people, left claw marks on the church door.
Did it burst through the church doors, attack people during a service? Physical,
but with paranormal elements and abilities. And that really kind of sums up the Dogman phenomenon. And to me, it just seems like a continuation of that. Something that has physical characteristics when it wants to or needs to, but is still spectral. It's ephemeral. It's fleeting. It's sometimes an illusion that can like touch you. And during that Discord conversation, our buddy Bonnie Blue, I don't know if she's in the chat right now or not, but my buddy Bonnie Blue McGee said, maybe the black dog phenomenon evolved itself because people evolved. And she had a great point. Used to be, if you're out and you're traveling, especially alone at night on foot through the woods, or maybe with just one other person, and there's a huge black dog there, that's a terrifying prospect, especially if you just have like a relatively short blade, to protect yourself with. Modern day, she had a great point. She goes, if a dog is like frightening me that bad, I'm just going to shoot it. So she goes, has the dog figure lost some of the ability to generate fear in
some
people?
Of that firepower.
So now it's evolved to something that culturally people are aware of. Because werewolves are scary.
That will incite a higher level of fear, the necessary level of fear that it seeks.
Just like the UFO phenomenon.
We call that matching energy.
Used to be literal wooden ships with oars in the sky. And then extremely strange looking balloons. Okay. Just very weird looking, like regular, like hot air balloons, but dirigibles. Yeah. So
I love that word so much.
It's, and then they became like the saucer shape.
You're piloting a dirigible.
Well, the saucer shaped craft. And then in the modern day, they're more like amorphous plasma blobs. But it seems like the UAP phenomenon has evolved right alongside humanity. And it seems like maybe other types of phenomena are doing the exact same thing. Sasquatch used to be, and I know that the different indigenous tribes had different views, but a lot of them used to have It'll take your children. It'll take your food. It'll steal your women. Watch out. Sometimes we've gone to war with them, blah, blah, blah. And now if you see that, it's very, very, very selective. It's opportunistic predatory behavior. It's not outright. That changed. So maybe what we've seen is we've just seen maybe that phenomenon hitched a ride over here, because there's canine legends in different tribes and everything like that. We looked into some of those when we were doing the LBL. There's different, Native American tribes had wolf-like creatures that factored in like their legends and lore, but maybe that actual idea of the black dog hitched a ride over with the Europeans when they settled here, and it evolved on this continent right alongside them. And this is just I've not crunched the numbers. I don't have a heat map generated up or anything like that, but we at least seem to encounter most of the Dogman like accounts from the UK, parts of Western Europe, North and South America. And I've gotten a few from Australia, but it's mostly the Anglosphere where you're seeing and hearing that stuff at.
In the United States, you get a lot of the reports from the areas that were traditionally settled by those people as well.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So
you've got the Southern Appalachian region, which was settled by the Irish and the Scots. You've got it was the Germans that settled a lot of Wisconsin, right?
Now, Irish werewolves, and I forget the name. Bonnie's in here; she'll be able to remind me. But werewolves they're a force for good.
I do have a ton of chats, guys. As we're going, as he's talking, and I'm going through the chat, I am marking stuff, and we'll get to the chat in a minute. So I do have a ton of stuff marked. We are going to get to it.
So here's how Hellbent Holler is different than other live streams. Most people would look past.
Tell us how, Joseph.
For $4.99 pork chop. How many teats do they have, and do they eat their own poo like my dog? Has anyone crossed one with a poodle yet? Pork chop struggles with the entire idea of the Dogman phenomenon. That it just, he and I talked about it earlier.
I don't think pork chop struggles with anything.
I think you're right on that. I stand corrected. But he does not, let me just put it to you like, he's not very accepting of it. And guess what? Here's the deal. All of his points that he makes are extremely valid. You have to, I think, doing this stuff, like when I talk to people that are very skeptical about Bigfoot, and they start listing off the reasons why they don't believe there's a Bigfoot. No evidence in the fossil record. Where's the body?
Where are the bones, Joe?
I just sat there and I go, hey, you got good points. I mean, I've got ideas of why that is, but I can't prove anything to you. At the end of the day, all of your points are valid. So
got a lot of stuff marked on there. If you
start hitting these things, man.
Let's start hitting some of these. Now, you know that how many teats do they have? That's, we got to read this fresh pork chop. How many teeth do they have? And do they eat their own poo like my dogs do? Has anyone crossed one with a poodle yet? Would that be a wolfadoodle?
A wolfadoodle.
Wolfadoodle. We passed a billboard on the highway the other day where people were advertising selling cockadoodles. Is that what it was?
I can't remember.
Those are $3,000 dogs.
$3,000 dogs, man.
We find our cats by dumpsters.
In this economy? I think every animal that we have found in a bad predicament. Yeah. And then just, then the next thing you know, we're its slaves. So, all right. So I'm
going to hit some of these. And
real quick, let me finish this and we'll get into it just in case we don't come back to it. So we're wanting to get back into some Dogman investigations. But it's not as easy as Bigfoot investigations. Almost every patch of woods has got reported Bigfoot activity. And
every region has some sort of Bigfoot activity going on, a history of reports of some kind.
But I mean, you look at, lower 48 in the U.S., you've got, Bray Road is known, Michigan Dogman, LBL, even though there's not as much activity there, the Palmyra incident, I think it's in New York. That always intrigued me. But
and somebody, I'm not even going to go to the bottom of the chat yet, but somebody's going to say Taylor, Mississippi.
Now, but that's the thing, is that it's the activity. It's just not as prevalent as what a lot of people claim. They're not behind every tree, and it's a hard topic to look into. It's almost,
I think also the nature of the Dogman subject allows some of these folks who are a little nutty, and listen, we're all a little bananas sometimes. You got to understand that. But I think it allows people to be a little more fantastical than other topics, you know?
And it does. If you look at it to outsiders, it's an even crazier topic than Bigfoot. And it is when you really look at it. But at the same token, I honestly believe there's something there. There's a there. I just think that it's maybe more nuanced and more complex than just a species of man dogs that's really good at hiding. There may be more than one thing going on.
Man dogs.
There may be more than one thing going on.
Flip the script.
There may be different, completely unrelated phenomena going on, but they have a passing physical resemblance to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we're lumping it all together under the Dogman because, you know, some of the Anubis sightings where people see things that look like Egyptian Nubis, a lot of those take place in people's homes.
Yeah.
And they just kind of appear. And it's more of a ghostly type visitation. And that's usually lumped in with Dogman. Well, that doesn't sound anything like, you know, the Beast of Bray Road or anything like that to me. That sounds like a completely different thing that just happens to also be upright, have a snout, and have ears at that point. So let's dive into this chat here.
Bonnie Blue is here. You're going to have to do that, Irish boy, Mr. Doyle.
I can barely read it.
Fallad?
The fallad is the term for Irish werewolves, and I'm probably not even getting that right. So, but yeah, for them, they're protectors. They're like almost like holy warriors. There's not a negative connotation, although there is, and Bonnie will also know this, there are at least two more regional Irish tales of aggressive werewolves. There's one gentleman that was turned for some sort of familial crime, which is, you know, that's where lycanthropy comes from.
Kinslayers.
Kinslayers. King Lycan in Greek mythology. So.
All right. Foxborough Ray. Hello, Foxborough Ray. Which Dogman encounter has stayed with you the longest and why?
We were contacted by a guy who wanted us to go up and help his daughter out. This is right in the beginning of us being kind of like associated with Dogman stuff. And it was some crazy claims, man, that these things were attacking their house at night, trying to get in, killed one of their dogs, busted through a window and grabbed one of the uncles, injured him. They'd called the police. The police didn't believe them.
And that's some straight out of Boggy Creek stuff.
Yeah, and just crazy stuff. And so we talked with this family for a while, and it's kind of hard to communicate with them. Obviously, they were extremely upset, and one lady was using voice to text all the time. It was we went up, and
not everybody is so sane and stable like we are.
I'm astonishingly sane.
Astonishingly sane.
But we went up very, very trepidatiously, went up to check it out. And what we saw seemed to back their claims up. But
we encountered ancillary issues.
It was quite honestly, it really looked like everything they were claiming had happened. Mm-hmm. But they were in such a state of fear, and the whole family was armed up and just at a hair trigger. And we were both just like, I honestly think that there's some sort of activity going here. Maybe Dogman activity, like they're claiming. Something's going on here.
But there was no way it was going to be safe enough
we can't stay here.
Us to be within 10 miles.
Somebody's going to catch a bullet up here. Maybe one of us, because everybody's so trigger happy and on edge.
And you know, Janet talks about this. Damn it, Janet talks about this all the time, that there is some sort of connection there with this sort of phenomenon and feeding off of that fear. Maybe whatever this was had the intention of whipping this family up to that point, up into the point that somebody does get got by one of the other family members.
Man.
And then that's some sort of, who knows, within this twisted world of ritual and sacrifice, if that was a sacrifice to the Dogman at that point, to this entity, whatever it was. But what it does is it drives you to the point that you make that sacrifice.
Well, here's the deal for us. This is legit. We're like real people. All right.
Speak for yourself.
We're not ex-government agents. We're not part of some elite government Dogman hunting team or whatever various crazy stories you hear. We're two people who are extremely interested in this stuff, have had our own experiences, and we've just dedicated pretty much our lives to trying to like figure out what's going on. And we've like learned new skills. We've acquired equipment. We're out here doing this. For a lot of people, there's a disconnect. It's completely fantasy to them.
Yeah.
we are real people living in the real world where the paranormal intrudes sometimes, but there's still real world stuff to deal with. Our concern being there was one of us is going to get shot, not on purpose, but just because they're so trigger happy and shook up.
Yeah.
And just, it was a very tense experience. Or one of them is going to shoot the other one. Okay.
And then here we are in the middle of
the police show up
of a Dogman induced crime scene.
And they're like, who in the hell are you guys? Oh, we're from the internet.
We're from the internet.
We're Dogman hunters from the internet, officer. Let me give you my card, sir, in case you ever need us.
I do have a card.
But we were literally standing there going, the best case scenario is right now is that we don't get shot, but somebody here is going to get shot. Or one of us is going to catch a stray bullet. We can't stay. And it's always stayed with me.
And then our DNA is all over the place.
It was such an intriguing thing. Or let's say one of us accidentally gets shot by one of them, and then the other one of us just goes, you get like a whole, it's like
I think self-preservation won the day.
I think it's like a whole Dogman induced wild bunch scene. So that has stuck with me because if I was a betting man, I bet that there was Dogman activity.
If we could have gotten these people out of there.
If we could have but here's the deal. There ain't no disarming these people at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a window busted up. The uncle's injured. There's claw marks on stuff. There's where they killed the dead dog.
The tax man couldn't do it, and Hellbent Holler certainly can't.
She said it was like peeing around the house, like as a territorial thing to the dogs that they were keeping inside now. And it smelled like everything backed up, man. If it was a hoax, it was a damn good hoax. But at the same time, the situation was so charged, there was nothing that anybody from the outside could do there except maybe catch a bullet. So that has stayed with me at this point. So
speaking of territorial, this is from Arthur. Dogman could be like the woman in white spirit, but territorial and aggressive looking canine spirit.
The night after we caught that thing on thermal on the LBL, I had a woman in gray sighting.
That counts as a woman in white, I'd say.
Yeah. But
that was that night after, actually. It was on the summer solstice.
Not that far from there. And I thought my eyes were playing. I thought it was.
And you were visibly quite shook up. If you go back,
point, that was the most, I was more shook up than seeing that thing on thermal.
Yeah. If you go back to that video, that's our first series of videos from the LBL that we did. Joe is pretty shook up. I had to kind of chill him out a little bit there, but he saw what appeared to be a woman in gray. She was all gray. Everything was gray. And she was just in a state of anger.
We had parked at the cemetery next to the bunkers where the
Mount Pleasant Cemetery.
Mount Pleasant Cemetery. If anybody wants to go, I don't care. And we'd walked to the cemetery and there had been vandalism taking place there. And somebody had, can I say defecate? Somebody had defecated on some of the graves.
Squat as they were.
They had defecated on some of the graves. And we took what water we had. And it's hot, man. It's like that was midsummer. It was going to be midsummer that night. And we took what water
I think I had the biggest tick ever crawling on me. On
we were taking water bottles and boring holes in the tops of the lids and then kind of so we could get some pressure. And we were
That's a little skill Joe developed because I would step and poo so much.
Yeah. So trying to get to clean the grapes up. But it really bothered me seeing that. And when we were out, I'm just getting this itch on the back of my neck. So I'm constantly looking around and I turn around and if you guys see the video, I will, when I'm using my flashlight, I'll turn it on, turn it off, try to see if you can catch something unaware with it. I turned around and I just flashed my light on for a second, pressed the button to momentarily activate it. At the top of the hill behind me, there was this woman. She's all gray, gray clothing, gray hair. Even the skin was kind of grayish. And she just looks like she wants to murder me. It's just this look of just anger doesn't even cover it. And my first thought was, because I go, I'm shocked for a second seeing anybody out there. And the thought that goes to my head is, and it makes no sense upon, reflecting upon it, but this is somebody who was out visiting that graveyard, like a relative buried there. And there's filth on the gravesite and we're the only people out there. She thinks we did it. And while that thought's processing to my head, she just vanishes right in front of my eyes. It really shook me up. It really shook me up a lot. I had a real hard time, the rest of the night trying to keep myself out there. I didn't get hurt. It was at a couple yards away and everything like that, but still that terrified me. That really terrified me. And it really kind of it really affected me. Very weird.
And you know,
Very
Rick
weird.
Skinner followed up that whole thing with something that's very apt for that whole thing, because you got that thermal image that first night, and then the second night you saw that woman in gray, that gray woman. Rick Skinner says it caused Joe to lose his anchor line. Now, Dogman and the Woo are possible. You experienced things that you had never experienced before. You saw things you didn't think existed, and that really did cause you to. That first trip to the LBL really did kind of, and I didn't really think about this before until today when we were discussing this, that really did start to knock over some dominoes for you and really start to open up some doors that you weren't entirely comfortable with opening, for sure. But you started to see a little, you took a little peek behind the curtain.
I'll tell you, I still to this day don't know if we got a Dogman on thermal. There might be a mundane explanation for it that we just haven't come across yet. And something might happen one day where I go, holy crap, that's what I saw on the LBL, and it wasn't a dog. I don't know. But that woman in white, if it had been like briefer, I could convince myself that I didn't see her and that it was my eyes playing tricks on me. She was there just long enough for me to like really kind of, and then bam, gone. That's still one of the, that to me is weirder than the night of the thermal by far, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's not something we really talk about yet because we didn't catch it on camera. So it might as well not exist.
Now let's talk about the night of the comet.
Go ahead.
You said the night of the thermal.
You've got a couple super chats on there too. You want
I do. I'm gonna head down there right now. I've got one from Hawk right here. He goes, from my experience with Bigfoot, they will show you only so much. If you aren't comfortable with certain things, they will back off till you are comfortable.
I don't know if I'm ever going to be comfortable, but good point. So,
and then we've got one from Pork Chop Express. Thank you, Pork Chop Express. I believe people have seen something, but I also think that we stretch for a historical analog for Dogman compared to Bigfoot. A few allegorical stories about wolf-related beings is not the same as global First Nations tradition.
but what about a very solid tradition in Europe, mostly Western Europe, that stretches back? I think the first spectral like hound story that I remember reading was like 500 something AD. I mean, there's other like weird, like, you know, there's the Wild Hunt, there's other stuff like that, you know, you know, there's stuff in Norse mythology, you know, where wolf creatures factor very prominently, but that's a pretty, to me, I mean, and that's part of your point is relevant. And that's why I'm leaning towards Dogman phenomenon being kind of an evolution of black dog phenomenon, something that is not, it's spectral, but it still has a physicality to it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it,
I think
for all of the encounters,
he might be making reference not to the black dog phenomenon. He might be making reference to the St. Christopher dog-headed thing.
Oh no, well, what I'm saying is that for all of the, because Dogman's a hot topic right now. But when
so hot right now.
So hot right now. Dogman's so hot right now. Even what we've captured for it is nebulous at best.
Mm-hmm.
There's not anywhere near as much physical evidence or trace evidence or evidence at all of Dogman compared to Sasquatch.
Deborah Feral Queen has a good point about this too. I'm going to follow up with that. She goes, I struggle with the Dogman concept, and probably because there isn't a viable place that I think for a review of sightings as there is with Bigfoot. So there's not as much of a place where people can report their sightings, and there's not a mechanism for investigating.
North American Dogman Project is been around for a while, but they're really kind of starting to gain steam right now.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to say about them is that they are not as large as the BFRO, but there's no editing that takes place like with the BFRO and other Bigfoot organizations. They'll basically take what's reported to you. And I don't know. I have to agree with everybody here that has, here's, and this is such an uncomfortable place to be at. I don't know. I just don't know. But here's the deal. When I say I don't know it's not real anymore either. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where these phenomena want you to be at. They want you to be at a level of uncertainty. You don't know what's real, what's not real. You're in a liminal state of mind dealing with a liminal creature. You're suspended between belief and disbelief. And that's where I'm at. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And that's the other thing too, is that I'm not emotionally invested in anything now either.
Yeah.
if I ever come to the steadfast conclusion that Dogman does not exist.
You're not, I mean, you don't call yourself Doyle the Dogman Daddy or anything.
No, I'm going to now,
You
but
are now.
I'm not emotionally invested in it. So if I come to that realization, I don't have to go, man, I don't think Dogman's real, but I got to keep the act up. No, we'll start looking for other weird stuff. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not emotionally invested. But that allows us to be kind of intellectually honest with it too.
I just imagine you just like somebody proves something wrong. You're like, no, the Dogman.
So
I'm Doyle the Dogman Daddy. Don't you understand? Pork Chop says, stay on the road, keep clear of the moors, beware the moonlets.
So, all right. What else you got in that chat?
I'm rolling through here right now. I think I got all the super chats knocked out. Fox Pro Reg goes, I too wonder why so many Dogman encounters include details that seem more paranormal than biological.
Because I think you're dealing with a phenomenon that is more probably paranormal than biological.
Yeah.
And just because, and again, the two aren't mutually exclusive. What was one of the early methods that people would use to determine if there were ghosts in the house? They'd spread flour on the floor and they'd get footprints. Just because something is supernatural doesn't mean it can't have a physical nature.
It can't interact physically with the environment around it. Yeah.
So.
Scorpius had a good point. This was from earlier about how people aren't super familiar with their own surroundings as it is. Anything is hidden 50 yards off the interstate. Humans don't exist there for any length of time. We're only in small little areas. People are only in small little areas. They don't know what's going on,
That is what
very far away from them.
It's whenever we mention an area and that there's weird activity taking place, and if somebody goes, oh, I've been hunting there for 50 years.
I've hunted those woods for 50 years.
There's nothing weird going on. And I go, so you're there a handful of days out of the year, probably in like one or two locations every single time. And
I've seen the number of bush light cans out there.
Yeah, I know where you're at. But I think that's it, is that it's like people that go to like very fancy resorts in different countries and they go, oh, I love country X. You've seen, 2 square miles of that country in like a very controlled environment. You don't know the people there. You know the people that are paid to be nice to you. They're just people like the rest of us. There's good parts, there's bad parts, there's whatever. But my analogy that I always used to use is that if you take like a large room and you cover the floor with like salt, sugar, flour, whatever, and you take a needle and you just drag it through there and then step back and look at it. It is such an infinitesimally small line going through this room. And that's what a typical hiking path is like through a national forest.
Yeah.
And then let's be generous. You can see 50 feet to either side of you. There's so much of a national forest that when people rarely do go there, whatever's out there could hear them a mile away.
And that's how we really find a lot of really amazing stuff is we might go in on a trail, but then going off trail, that's where we find the weirdest stuff. And we'll follow usually my weird intuition on things and just go off in a direction. And that's how we find things. Rarely are you going to find anything right there, right on the trail. Miranda Crew, knife check, please. I do believe it's time.
We had to hold our knives down here because we didn't have them on our table because we're still not sure
we're so scared to touch our table.
I got a Z.
I didn't know you had yours too.
Yep. Well, my ZT, zero tolerance, 0300.
Look what I got. I got the little version of it. This is so cute. All right. This is a 0350 tiger stripe.
I don't usually like knife finishes like this.
I do.
But this tiger stripe is super rad.
I like a sports model. You know what I'm saying? I like a sports model.
If they ever re-release these, if I got the cash, I'm gonna get another one. But
this is one of my go-to knives that I love to just carry. Like if I don't know what I want to carry that day, I can resort to this one.
I don't usually like assisted openers, but it's a little spring in there that helps the blade open up. But yeah, that's a freaking dope knife.
Here for it.
So
here for it.
And there's a comment on here that I see on my phone where Pork Chop goes, Joe is on point. I'm just wanting to stir it up. So,
you always stir it up, Pork Chop.
Ray's got a super chat in there.
I'm going. Give a woman a moment. Here we are. All right. Ray Melendrez. Jesus Payan, actor, paranormal investigator, recently said on Bigfoot Society that he's seen a Dogman, Bigfoot, and alien all together. I say, why not? Each seen separately. The veil thinning. It would be amazing if they were playing poker.
I'll tell you right now, that is one of my biggest pet peeves is when people go, this exists probably, but the rest of the stuff is because I was like that once upon a time. I understand that. And I'm not saying everything's real, but
The boggle threshold. So I saw a Bigfoot. Okay, I'm willing to believe you. I saw a Bigfoot, a Dogman, an alien. Nah, it's too much. I can't believe. Foolish.
We've already accepted that we don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, that's equally as valid.
Drawing that line.
I don't
is
know.
Weird.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. My other thing too is don't use one unknown to explain another unknown. What if another unknown's the answer? It's already, we're dealing with unknowns here. So we've established that the first thing is unknown, but now we're going to start editing out what the possible answer could be for it. It's ridiculous. So, all right, keep going. See what
Joe
else
says no to that, baby.
Joe
boy.
says no to that.
All right, I'm gonna go dig around here. Kimball Palmer says, anyone seen that video from Ohio of that thing digging in the cemetery? I think we're talking about that Dogman-like creature digging in the cemetery. There's been a lot of sightings of Dogman near Iron Bridges, which your boy came up with some of that stuff for Aaron's book.
Yeah,
there.
you did.
Your girl came up with that. Sorry. But they're seen around these liminal spaces, iron bridges and cemeteries. There is the cemetery. What is it? Gadara? Is that what it said?
He said Gadara, which is, and I can't remember what the biblical connotation on that is, but
it was at that cemetery that was attached to the place where they kept Rosemary Kennedy after her lobotomy.
They, the digging thing is interesting. And to my knowledge, I think somebody claimed they debunked it one time, but just because somebody says they debunked it doesn't mean it's debunked in my mind.
I always have a question about that too. Just because it's repeated, it was debunked. And then you start to look into some of these debunkings and they are total bunk themselves. There was a debunking of a really famous case, and I think you discussed it with Steve, of the helicopter crash. I don't know what the particulars are about some of that.
We'll do
stuff.
a show just
We're
on
going
that.
to do a show on that. But, you know, sometimes when things happen where it's just somebody sent me an email and said that they were there, I don't think that's a debunking. You know what I'm saying? If somebody just sends an email, I received an email and they said they were there and it didn't happen. Oh, okay. Well, pack it up, boys. We're done here.
So-and-so says that didn't happen. Well, then it would prove it to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a debunking is...
And beware the person who makes a career out of debunking things, because when they run out of things to debunk, they've got to look for things to debunk. When the witch finder general runs out of witches to burn, he'll accuse your wife next. Joseph.
Bust me out something else on the chat here.
I'm going. I was ranting. Okay.
Got a cough.
Well, you know what?
Robin Ray asked,
maybe
are
a
there
witch
now,
did that to
I don't know
you.
where this is in the comments, but are there now or have there ever been in the fossil record any digitigrade bipedal organisms? Not that I'm aware of, not that are bipedal. I don't know if hold on. Entertain the people for a second, baby.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Here's where Pork Chop said that. Joe is on point. I just wanted to stir it up. Pork Chop is always doing that.
Yeah, a kangaroo's not truly a digitigrade. So that's what I got ready to say.
Thank God for that.
And then I had a moment going, well, wait, but hold on. So, but that's a good question. I need to actually look into that to see if that's the case, Robin. All right. What else you got?
Hot Dog Man Daddy. I'm going through the chat. I'm going as fast as I can. You can always look for Donkey Squatch. That's a good idea. I just turned Australian for a second. Dr. Photography. How are you doing, Doctor? We love our Doctor. Just like people that are ghosts, dead, you have good people and bad people. So follows with Sasquatch and Dogman, except when a ghost, Dogman, or Skinwalker more so has been tasked to protect. So if something has been conjured toward, perhaps.
On the topic of conjured, one of the things we talked about was the fact that the Dogman entity could be like a tulpa or like an egregore.
Mm-hmm.
A tulpa is something that like one person has like basically imagined into existence, while an egregore is more of like a group effort, like society or a culture thinks about it so much.
Yeah.
I struggle with that even more than I struggle with a lot of stuff, but I'm not saying it's not impossible. But, you know, for example, society is obsessed with things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Superman, and we don't see those manifesting. And there's far more people obsessed with that than they are with like Dogman.
Yeah.
So unless on a different reality of existence, there's no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there. There's no Superman there. But there are creatures like Dogman.
So there are the building blocks for this. There are the roots there.
Maybe they're there trying to get in as it is, and enough people think about it, and it gives them a little opening to come in.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Following up on this line of thinking, City Witch says, I've been reading a book on traditional witchcraft, and in it they talk about the fetch or familiar. Essentially, instead of being a separate from the practitioner, it's part of them in animal form. And there's a follow-up to this. Given enough time and practice can be seen not only by the practitioner, but by others. In the case of werepeople, i.e. werewolf, the person is able to allow the fetch beast to form, to take over. So it takes over their body. It's also with donning skins and shape shifting. That's a part of traditional witchcraft as well. That was a ritual that was commonly employed by people involved in traditional witchcraft.
You would don the pelt of a wolf or make a wolfskin belt.
And that you could become that.
Very neat.
Sometimes I wonder when we're talking about these things, we have a group here of people who are all over the spectrum. And I don't mean like that spectrum, but yes, I also do mean that spectrum. But we have people that are all over the spectrum and all over different types of people, different levels of power and interest. And it's such an interesting, very diverse group here. Do you ever wonder if there is a way that this group here, our group, that we all are very intense about what we do? We all have very intense discussions, especially on the members Discord. Do you think that there is some sort of tulpa being made from time to time whenever we're doing that as well?
We got on our Discord, and I don't want to only talk too much about it and leave people out that aren't a part of it, but just to give you some insight into it. Got into our Discord during the day of the summer solstice when we were investigating Blood Mountain, and we asked everyone there to take a moment and start to really send some mental energy our way that something would happen. We had people on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 continents all around the world, multiple different religious backgrounds.
We got to get that McMurdo Station person.
We need, if we can get that. But all sending out mental energy, and we ended up having a crazy night. That's the night we got the orbs, the thermal hits, the weird vocalizations, all of the madness cut out that night.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's a possibility that all that kind of like stimulated some of this stuff. I'm not saying at the end of the day, I got to be intellectually honest. If I'm willing to entertain one weird thing, I got to be open to other weird stuff. But like I said, it's just that when my reasoning, the whole tulpa egregore thing doesn't really hold up, but I also ain't working with a complete picture of like stuff.
You're also not working with a full deck of cards.
I'm not working with a full deck of cards either.
So Reverend PC says, I'm waiting on 7 seconds of gravity loss tomorrow. Is that supposed to happen?
Something. Yeah. I heard something about that. I don't want to mess with my phone too much because I'm sure the mic is picking my little gentle touches.
Nudges. Everybody loves a gentle nudge from Doyle Dogman Daddy. We gotta make you a sign for that.
Right.
That might be your subline on your name next week. Who knows? Who knows where this goes? I want to ask you guys, how has this looked and sound during this entire show? Are we back, baby? Are we so back? Because I feel like we're back.
I feel like we're back.
I feel like we're so back, baby. I think it's working.
Back,
Shade Viking says, yes, I recall hearing of Dogman was 8 years ago. I found Linda Godfrey's website and it led me to the here and now. We met Linda Godfrey at the first CryptidCon we went to, and it was a magical time. I got a picture with her.
I served her alcohol in the hotel bar because Jesse and I had sunk the bartender that was working there. We got him too drunk to work, and we were helping run the bar.
We had to help bartend.
It was crazy. Because we used to bartend in New Orleans. So we're talking to the bartender in this little hotel bar, and
this
we're
is
just
in Frankfurt.
talking to him. And we're always like really cool with like service staff, that's one of my metrics on whether I like somebody or not. It's how do you treat people that are being paid to wait on you? So we started hanging out with him, and the next thing you know, we're all like 3 sheets to the wind, and and then all of a sudden, a bunch of people that were attending the con showed up. So this little hotel bar that maybe has like 5-10 people a night is like packed.
Yeah.
Like 100 people
And
in there.
he's sweating.
He's sweating.
His vest is undone.
So we were just like, you want us to hop in and help you? So yeah, we were serving booze to
Oh,
it
goodness.
was great. It was absolutely great.
Bristol, is it just me, or does the new camera make Joe look shorter?
I don't know what you're talking about. So
Oh, everybody
All
looks a
right.
little shorter. Dogman Daddy t-shirts. All right.
but yeah,
perfect.
so we're gonna try to do. I'll be honest with you, other than the LBL thing, the last big Dogman investigation we tried to do was the one we did around Halloween.
Who is it? Yeah.
The lady said there was a wolf man coming around her property, and then her family backed out of it, and
Yeah.
it just caused everything to like. It was such a stressful thing. We had this thing carefully planned out, and then we just had to. It just took away most of the cool stuff we wanted to
And
investigate.
it was absolutely bizarre, though.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff we found out there and the stuff we experienced out
Wasn't
there.
what we were looking for, though.
Wasn't what we, is it ever?
Best mod in the business, Lady Wolf.
Lady Wolf.
Lady Wolf. Best damn mod in the business.
All right, guys. I think this was a success. I think
this was a
everybody
success,
had
man.
fun. We learned a lot along the way. We gave Joe a new nickname.
Dave Joe, you know what? That's always
That's always a
it's always
place.
a good thing. But let us know.
Let us know in the comments. What do you think?
We're not even, I don't care if you ever comment or don't comment. I don't
Joe,
care. But anyway, not right now, because you always hear people do that to try to say, oh, if they comment on my video, it'll drive it up in the metrics. And the live streams aren't for the metrics. The live streams are to hang out with people. So don't just comment to help the algorithm pick the video up. Legit comment if you've got something like an idea or input or a theory or an opinion on Dogman. Put it in the comments. And you know what? Please do. And we'll try to respond and converse with you as best we can on the comment section. And maybe we'll circle back to the Dogman topic in a couple of weeks and bring in some stuff, some other ideas that other people have.
Joe and I are going to be hitting a lot of our regular investigation areas over the next few weeks. We're super excited to get back in the woods and back in the game because we are done with this last film. We don't know what we're doing for the last Small Town Monsters film. We're not sure yet. We're going to see where the universe pushes us because that's what happened with this last one. It was on this very show that 2 people suggested Lake Winfield Scott, and that's what led us to Blood Mountain. So we're gonna get back into doing some Hellbent Holler stuff. We're gonna hit our regular investigation areas. We're gonna reacquaint ourselves with some of these spooky.
I want to do some weird. I don't want to curse. I want to do some weird stuff.
I want to do some weird stuff. Yeah, I'm ready for some weird stuff too. And we are about to slide into spooky season. It'll be here before you know it. I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's Halloween stuff at the stores already.
Speaking of Halloween, Dead End Yard Haunts in here.
Halloween.
It is
Halloween,
probably
Halloween.
Things probably getting crazy in the Dead End Yard Haunt. So
Backcountry Project is no longer commenting because
I am not commenting.
You know why?
Why?
He's mad we don't have Brooke Moreland on here.
Is he really?
Yep. He's mad about that. Tonight was the night he was going to propose.
Seriously, I have not been paying that much attention to the chat for it, so it's been difficult. So we will have Brooke on soon.
We will.
Okay?
I just did a interview with Brooke. It was a really good conversation. It's going to be, it's very candid. And it's going to be coming out on Dark Florida. I think she said it might be Thursday or Friday, but I will let you guys know when that's coming out. But it's a candid conversation between 2 gal pals who went out in the woods hunting for Bigfoot, and we found some orbs. Classic story, I know, but it's a great
tale as old as time.
The tale as old as time. It's a great conversation. We are very candid with it, which I like. I think we need a little more of that. We need a little less of the stuffy expert, great white Bigfoot hunter.
I need a monocle,
and
one of those like Sherlock Holmes pipes. But
we're just normal people, just like you,
just like the common folk. But if you have not watched the Small Town Monsters documentary, though. Hunt the Appalachian Bigfoot.
Please.
That you should leave a comment on. Leave a comment. Tell them how much you love Hellbent Holler. Greatest thing since sliced bread. Hawk has something under the wire. I think the guy we were talking about today would make a good guide for the area we chatted about, since he knows where certain places are there. I know exactly what Hawk's talking about. So yeah, I agree.
You know the thing we were talking about today about the guy and the thing?
Yes, and he's right. So yes, so
very
but
cool.
if you get a chance, watch it, leave a good comment, leave a thumbs up. That I will ask you to do. We're trying to show the world that like there's a spot out here for independent searchers for answers and not experts, students, not people trying to lecture you. So that's what we are, and that's what we're trying to do, and show people that you like.
Just a couple of cool guys doing cool stuff.
Cool stuff, man. So,
all right, guys, thank you for watching Hellbent Live. I felt like this was a classic episode. I felt like this was we kind of went back. We kind of went back.
Well, we're not
to our
fighting
roots.
everything right now. We're just we're
scared of our table.
We're super scared.
But yeah, I'm glad that everything is working. I'm glad that you can see us, you can hear us. Everything is cool beans. That's what we want. All right, guys, we love y'all. We're heading back in. I'm gonna make Joe some dinner.
We've got to have Brooke on for just Backcountry Project.
Yeah,
he's leaving out with.
He's gonna lose it.
I love Brooke Moreland. So.
All right. Good night, Hellbenders. We love you. We'll see some of y'all in the Discord over the next week or so until we do another show. But then Joe and I are going back into the woods. I'm ready. You ready, Joe?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. All right, guys. See y'all later. As always, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Good night. Don't let the Dogman bite.